Not good enough to buy a car. The first thing anyone noticed about Mia wasn't her looks or her clothes. It was the silence that followed wherever she walked, like the calm before a storm. That morning in downtown San Diego, the sun painted golden streaks across the pavement as Mia stepped out of the parking garage, her sneakers softly tapping against the concrete. She wore a simple olive green jacket over a gray t-shirt, jeans that had seen better days, and a worn leather bag slung over her shoulder. Her dark curls were tied into a low ponytail. No makeup, no jewelry, just purpose. She paused at the edge of the curb, staring across the street at Arlington Lux Auto House, a fortress of reflective glass and arrogance. Inside, she knew, were machines that cost more than some small homes. But she wasn't here for flash or ego. She needed a car that was safe, smart, and reliable. A hybrid SUV she had been researching for the last 6 months. Quietly, carefully, on her terms. She had already made up her mind. And yet, as she crossed the street and the automatic doors slid open with a mechanical hiss, what happened next was something she never could have planned for. Inside the dealership, the temperature dropped, not literally, but in attitude. Polished marble floors, polished men, polished lies. 3 salesmen stood near a display, laughing quietly. One of them noticed her walk in. His gaze flicked over her outfit like a scanner, and then flicked away. Not a single one moved. Mia blinked. Was it just her imagination? She walked past a jet black Range Titan, the same model she'd researched and bookmarked, reviewed, and compared. $189,000. Not cheap, but its top-tier safety, electric mileage, and titanium alloy frame made it worth every cent. She ran her hand gently across the smooth curve of the door. The metal was cold. So were the stairs from across the room. She cleared her throat. "Excuse me, I'd like to ask about." A man in a sharply cut navy blue suit stepped forward. Finally. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Yes, do you need directions to our used car lot? That's a few blocks down." Mia blinked. "No, actually. I'm interested in the Titan Black 2025 hybrid, the one with adaptive safety assist and panoramic solar roof." He paused, just for a moment. That threw him. "Ah, that model," he said slowly, like she'd just asked about a spaceship. "It starts at $189,000. But with upgrades and registration, you're easily looking at over $200,000. Mia nodded. "I'm aware. That's fine." The man, his nameplate read Graham, tilted his head. "Right. Well, let's start by seeing what financing might be realistic for your situation. Most people in that range lease. I'm not looking to finance or lease," Maya said, meeting his eyes. "I'll be paying up front." That changed his posture, slightly, but not his attitude. "Miss," he asked. "Mia." "Well, Mia," he said with that same smug smile. "We typically require pre-approval before allowing test drives of that particular model. Company policy. And we've had some, let's say, window shoppers wasting time lately. I'm sure you understand." "I do," Maya replied coolly. "But I didn't come to waste anyone's time, just to buy a car." Graham laughed. Right there. In her face. "Oh, sure. We get that a lot," he said with a dismissive wave. "Tell you what, why don't I show you something more, budget-friendly? We have some great 2021 models that just came off lease. Perfect for first-time buyers." Mia stood frozen, her hand clenched around the strap of her bag. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she smiled, just slightly. "I've bought 9 cars in my life," she said. "But thank you for assuming." Graham stepped back, caught off guard. But still, he didn't offer to show her the car she came in for. Maya took a deep breath and stepped past him, walking toward the Range Titan Black on display. She opened the driver's side door and sat inside before anyone could stop her. The cabin was quiet, sleek, She ran her fingers across the leather, turned to look out the solar roof. Everything she had read about, confirmed. Behind her, another voice cut in sharply. You can't just sit in that. She turned her head slowly. Another man had joined Graham, older, balding, with a heavier build. His badge read, Sales Director, Malcolm Hensley. I don't think you understand what this car is, he said sternly. It's not a photo op. This isn't a showroom for influencers or browsers who want selfies. These are serious vehicles for serious buyers. Mia opened the door and stood up. Is that what you think I am? A browser? Let's not get emotional, Malcolm said. It's just policy. No, it's profiling, she replied, steady and low. And your policies are full of assumptions. By now, everyone in the dealership was watching. A young intern at the receptionist desk glanced up from her phone. Two suited customers nearby paused their conversation. The air was tightening. Malcolm folded his arms. Look, lady, you clearly don't have the money. And if you did, you wouldn't be walking in here dressed like that. That's when Maya slowly, very calmly, reached into her bag. For a second, both men tensed. She pulled out a small black card holder, clicked it open. And there it was. Thick, black, titanium, an invitation-only credit card. Only offered to clients with net liquid assets over $10 million. The kind of card that didn't have limits, just power. She held it up casually. Will this be enough for the range Titan Black? She asked. The silence was a slap. Malcolm's jaw slackened. Graham turned pale. The receptionist actually gasped, and a customer across the showroom whispered, Is that a Centurion card? Mia tilted her head. Should I speak to your general manager now? Or perhaps the owner? Oh, you know her husband too. A heavy silence settled across the Arlington Lux Auto Haus showroom, broken only by the faint tick of the wall clock and the low hum of the central AC. The glossy floors no longer sparkled under the lights. They shimmered with discomfort. Mia held the card between two fingers like it weighed nothing, but its meaning sent ripples through the air. Malcolm, the sales director, stood frozen. Graham's smile had disappeared entirely, replaced by a rigid twitch of the lips. The other staff suddenly found interesting things to stare at. Their phones, a far-off windshield, the toe of their designer shoes. Mia didn't blink. Should I repeat the question? She asked softly, or maybe ask someone else. From behind the large glass walls at the back of the showroom, a door creaked open. A man in his 50s stepped out, graying hair, salt and pepper beard, fitted blazer over a sharp white shirt. He walked with quiet authority, his expression unreadable. His badge read, Jonathan Ellis, General Manager. He walked straight toward Mia, though his eyes darted briefly to Malcolm and Graham. Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan, he said, voice calm and collected. Is there a problem here? That depends, Maya replied, slipping the black card back into her wallet. Do all your customers get told they're not good enough to sit in the cars you sell, or just the ones who don't wear $1,000 suits? Ellis blinked once, then again. I see, he murmured. Would you mind joining me in my office? I think we need to talk. Mia gave him a long look. She nodded. But before she could take a step, a voice cut across the floor. Wait, Mia. Everyone turned. The man who spoke had just walked in from the other side of the showroom. He wore a tailored gray suit with a silk scarf casually wrapped around his neck. His gold watch glinted as he removed his sunglasses. Mid-40s, effortlessly confident. Daniel Corday, CEO of Corday Lux Technologies, one of the top names in San Diego's private tech world. He smiled as he strode forward. I didn't know you were back in town. My God, it's been, 4 years since the startup gala in Geneva? Mia raised an eyebrow and gave a small smile. Dan, still pretending to hate champagne. He chuckled. Only the overpriced stuff. How are you? Before she could answer, he glanced around, and noticed the tension in the room. His smile faded. Is something going on? Ellis quickly stepped forward, damage control instincts kicking in. Mr. Corday, welcome back. There's been a small misunderstanding. Corday held up a hand. With Mia? Yes. Well, Ellis tried again. Mia Prescott. Corday interrupted. Now everyone froze again. The name landed like thunder. Even the receptionist sat bolt upright. Because the name Mia Prescott didn't just belong to some casually dressed customer. It belonged to a Harvard-educated former robotics engineer, co-founder of an AI security firm acquired for over $120 million, and most notably, the wife of finance titan Mason Prescott. Everyone knew Mason. Few ever connected him to the quiet, reserved woman who often avoided the spotlight. Until now. Ellis blinked. Twice. I wasn't aware of. No, I'm sure you weren't, Corday said, shooting a sharp look at Malcolm and Graham. Let me guess. You thought she wandered in off the street. Malcolm cleared his throat. It's not what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like, Corday snapped. I've done business with your dealership for over a decade. You know what the Prescotts are worth. He didn't wait for an answer. More than all your quarterly quotas combined. Times 10. Mia glanced at him with a soft grin. I don't need backup, Dan. Maybe not, he replied. But someone needs to say this out loud. Ellis looked mortified now. Miss Prescott, please accept my personal apologies. I had no idea. Mia turned to him sharply. That's the problem, isn't it? No one had any idea who I was. And the second I didn't look like money, I was dismissed. Graham, who had stepped back toward the desk, muttered under his breath, Nobody told us she was. Excuse me. Mia's voice was calm, but razor sharp. You don't need to know who someone is to treat them with respect. That's basic human decency. Or is that only extended to those who come in dressed like your marketing billboards? Silence again. Even Corday stayed quiet. Ellis took a breath, gathering himself. Miss Prescott, this is inexcusable. I'd like to personally offer you any vehicle on the lot. Mia shook her head. No, I'm not here for discounts. I'm not here for favors. I came to purchase the car I've researched for months, on my terms. And the fact that I had to pull out a status symbol just to be taken seriously is the problem. She paused, then glanced at the younger employee behind the counter, the only one who had offered her a bottle of water when she first walked in, the only one who smiled when no one else did. What's your name? Maya asked. The young woman blinked, surprised. Me? Ellie. Mia smiled. You've been the most professional person in this entire building so far. Ellie blushed. Thank you. Mia turned back to Ellis. If I purchase the car, I'll work only with her. No one else. Ellis nodded immediately. Of course. She looked at Graham and Malcolm. And these two. Ellis stiffened. They'll be addressed. Mia tilted her head. They'll be fired. They'll be addressed, Ellis repeated, a little less confidently. Over the next 30 minutes, Ellie and Mia sat in the quiet glass office going over specs, features, and warranties for the Range Titan Black. The mood was entirely different, respectful, efficient, and without a hint of condescension. Would you like the 10-year warranty upgrade? Ellie asked. Yes, Maya said. And add the solar smart panel package. Done. Payment method. Mia handed her the titanium card. Ellie handled it like a sacred object and didn't flinch at the total, $212,476. Paid in full. As Ellie printed the receipt, Maya stared out the office window. Outside, Malcolm and Graham sat with their arms crossed at the far desk, eyes low. The dealership had changed its tune, but the taste in her mouth was still bitter. The damage had been done. Ellie returned. Your new Titan Black will be ready in 1 hour, Ms. Prescott. Mia smiled faintly. Please, just Mia. As she walked out of the dealership and into the afternoon sun, her phone buzzed. Mason Prescott. She picked up. "Hey," came her husband's voice. "Just checking in. Did you find the one you wanted?" Mia exhaled a breath. "I did, but you won't believe the circus I walked into first." "Oh no," Mason muttered. "Don't tell me they treated you like a random browser again." "Worse. This time they tried to steer me toward used models. One of them actually said I looked like I didn't belong there." There was a pause on the line. Then Mason's voice turned colder. "What dealership?" Mia smiled. "Don't worry. I handled it." "I'm sure you did," he said. "But I still want to know who. They'll never get a cent of my business again." Mia paused, watching the glass building behind her. "It's not just about boycotting them. It's about what happens next. That place is toxic, and unless someone forces their hand, they'll keep humiliating people like this." Mason sighed. "So what are you going to do?" "I don't know yet," she said, "but I have an idea." Later that night, Mia sat on her balcony overlooking the ocean, a glass of tea in hand. The golden lights of downtown San Diego sparkled below. She pulled out her laptop and logged into her blog, The Quiet Observer, where she occasionally wrote essays on tech, leadership, and human dignity. But tonight, she started a new post. "The $200,000 car I wasn't good enough to sit in." She didn't name the dealership. Not yet. But she described everything in detail: the sneers, the assumptions, the shame, and the silence. She wrote for every single person who had ever been made to feel small in a place of luxury. And she ended the post with a line that would echo across social media. "Kindness costs nothing. But arrogance, that can cost you everything." She hit publish. The ripple began within minutes. When the world saw her story, the next morning, San Diego woke up to a storm, and it wasn't coming from the ocean. It was coming from the internet. Mia's blog post, published just 12 hours earlier, had already been read by nearly 2 million people. On Twitter, the hashtags #NotGoodEnough and #MayaPrescott trended nationally before noon. On LinkedIn, industry leaders reposted her blog with captions like, "A sobering reminder that your next client might not look like what you expect." Respect is a baseline, not a luxury. Within 24 hours, her story was featured in digital columns of major outlets: The Verge, Fast Company, Forbes, Business Insider. Each platform praised Mia's composure, dignity, and courage for exposing a deeper, uncomfortable truth: the bias that still hides in plain sight, even in the most modern, high-tech, and inclusive spaces. But inside the glass walls of Arlington Lux Auto House, things weren't just uncomfortable. They were falling apart. Inside the meltdown, General Manager Jonathan Ellis hadn't slept. His inbox had exploded with angry messages. Corporate, regional directors, former clients threatening to cut ties. Even sponsors from last month's luxury auto show were now reassessing their brand associations. A headline from a viral LinkedIn post had struck like a hammer: "How Arlington Lux failed a $200 million client because she wore sneakers." Worse, someone from the showroom, likely an intern, had leaked security footage of the incident. The video showed Mia standing calmly while Malcolm Hensley raised his hand to stop her mid-sentence, right before saying, "You clearly don't have the money for this." The clip had racked up 5.3 million views on TikTok by morning. Comments were brutal. "Mia Prescott is the role model we didn't know we needed. Hope that salesman likes selling lawnmowers, because his luxury career is over. You never know who you're talking to. Lesson: always show respect." By noon, Ellis had no choice. He walked into the staff lounge with a manila envelope in hand. "Malcolm, we need to talk." Malcolm stood, confused. "What's going on?" Ellis handed him the envelope. "Effective immediately. Your services are no longer required. You're firing me." He scoffed, snatching the paper. For what? She tricked us. She didn't look like she had money. Ella stiffened. Exactly. That's the problem. You judged her, dismissed her, and embarrassed this company. And now you've cost us millions in bad press and client loss. We're being investigated for discriminatory practices because of your actions. Malcolm went pale. You're making me the scapegoat. You made yourself the scapegoat, Ellis said coldly. Meanwhile, across town, Mia sat in her home office, scrolling through emails. Some were from journalists requesting interviews. Others were from people she didn't know, hundreds of them, sharing their own stories. My daughter was told she couldn't afford her wedding dress because she wore jeans to the bridal boutique. I'm a software engineer who drives a beat-up Camry, and I've been turned away from luxury dealerships too. Thank you for speaking out. You've started something powerful. She hadn't expected any of it. She had just wanted a car. Instead, she had sparked a national conversation. Her husband, Mason, walked in with coffee. Well, you officially broke the internet. Mia smiled tiredly. I didn't mean to. Maybe not, he said, setting the mug down. But you reminded people of something we forget too easily. Character isn't worn on a price tag. She sighed. I feel like I just ripped the mask off a much bigger problem. He knelt beside her chair, looking into her eyes. And maybe that's exactly what needed to happen. The interview that changed everything. 3 days later, Mia appeared on Good Morning America via video call. She wore a simple white blouse and sat against a background of bookshelves, plants, and soft morning light. The host smiled warmly. Mia, first of all, thank you for joining us. You've become an overnight symbol of grace under pressure. What made you speak out? Mia leaned forward slightly. I didn't post my story for revenge. I did it because I realized that what happened to me wasn't rare. It's just rarely told. You had the power to buy the car, and you did. But you said something in your blog that stuck with me. Most people don't have a black card to prove their worth. What did you mean by that? Mia took a breath. People are constantly underestimated because of how they look. Maybe they're young, or wearing old clothes, or they speak with an accent, or they're a woman, or they're black, or they're in a wheelchair. We carry invisible value, and too often, it's ignored. The host nodded solemnly. Do you believe companies can change? I believe they must, Maya said, or we'll change where we give our business. Fallout and a reckoning. Within a week, Arlington Lux Autohaus posted a public apology on their website and social channels, stating, We deeply regret the incident involving Ms. Prescott. We have terminated the employee involved and will undergo mandatory training on bias and respectful customer service across all branches. But that wasn't enough. Major clients quietly pulled their accounts. Partnerships were dropped. Yelp and Google reviews plummeted. And then came the final blow. Lux Drive International, the elite automotive consortium that allowed only the top 5% of dealerships into its membership, revoked Arlington Lux's certification. Their reputation shattered. But somewhere in that darkness, a few seeds were planted. A new opportunity. Ellie, the young receptionist who had shown Mia kindness, received a surprise email from Mia herself. Hi Ellie, I wanted to thank you again for your professionalism. I'm launching a new foundation focused on equitable business training, and we're hiring. I think you'd be perfect for the outreach and communications team. If you're interested, let's talk. Mia asterisk. 2 days later, Ellie was packing up her desk and starting a new chapter. 6 weeks later, at the grand opening. It was a crisp Friday morning when the Prescott Foundation for Respectful Business officially opened its downtown San Diego office. The lobby was simple, elegant, and filled with light. Not flashy, but purposeful. Mia stood near the entrance, watching as people filtered in. There were press cameras, students from the local business college, and a few small business owners she'd invited personally. Beside her stood Ellie, now confident in her new role. "You built this from one bad afternoon," Ellie said, amazed. Mia smiled. "I didn't build it. I just lit the match. The world built the fire." A tall man in a navy suit approached. He looked familiar. "Ms. Prescott?" he asked. "I'm Carter Morgan. I used to work for Arlington Lux." Mia's posture tensed, but his eyes were kind. "I left 2 weeks after your story broke. I've been in sales for 20 years, and I realized I'd been silent too long. I want to do better. I was wondering if you're offering training for former auto professionals to relearn how to treat people right." Mia extended her hand. Yes, we are. One final ride." That evening, Mia pulled into the driveway of her home in her sleek, golden black Titan hybrid SUV. The same car that started it all. She turned off the engine, letting the silence wash over her. She stepped out and stared at the car, not with pride, but with reflection. It wasn't about the horsepower. It wasn't about the status. It was about a choice, to be heard, to be seen, and to make sure others were too. Mason joined her outside, wrapping an arm around her waist. "You realize this all started with one man raising his hand to stop you from speaking." She nodded. "And now, people are listening. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been judged, dismissed, or underestimated based on how you looked, know this. You are not alone. Your worth is not measured by someone else's assumptions. It's defined by your values, your actions, and the way you carry yourself through the world. Stand tall. Speak up. And when they tell you you're not good enough, show them who you are."